Hi there. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to slice data with Excel's take function. If you're wondering what it means to slice data, it simply means taking a subset of elements and returning that subset of elements from an array. We can demonstrate how to slice a two-dimensional array in Python by specifying the start and end indices for the rows and the start and end indices for the columns. Let's take this two-dimensional array as an example. If we want to return the central elements 15, 16, 21, and 22, all we have to do is specify the rows indices and column indices, and then we get the central elements. If we wanted to retrieve the first three rows and the last three columns, and all we have to do is specify those row numbers and the column numbers. And there we go. We have the first three rows and last three columns. The nice thing about Python is you can leave the starting and the ending indices blank, and it will work out that you need the end items or the starting items. So if we run this again, it's the specified range. Now for a quick introduction to the syntax for the Excel's take function. As in Python, you need to specify the source data, an Excel range, and you need to specify how many rows you're going to take and how many columns you're going to take. And please note that we can take negative values as well. I'll show you how to take negative values shortly. So for the same set of data, if we want to take the first three rows and first three columns, we can put a hash symbol because it's a dynamic array. So now we can specify three rows and three columns. And hey presto, it's the exact same first three rows and first three columns. If we wanted to take the last three rows and the last three columns, then here's where the negative sign comes in handy. You can simply change that, and you have the last three rows and the last three columns. If you want to take the first four rows, like so, and the last two columns, say for example, it should return this range of data. So we want to take the first four rows and the last two columns. We can mix and match the positive and the negative signs for the number of rows and columns that we want to take. So my goal is to build a custom dynamic array function in Excel, which will slice the data automatically for us using the take function. And this is done without any VBA code. The idea is to pass the source data range that we want to slice, the starting and end rows indices, just like in Python, and the starting and end column indices to our saved slice function. So let's say we wanted to get the central elements again. What we first need to do is let's get the first 4 rows and 4 columns. So we'll just change our formula quickly. So this returns the first 4 rows and columns. Now we want to take from this first 4 rows and columns that we've returned, we want to take these last 2 rows and columns. So we simply nest a take function into the other. So we want the last 2 rows, last 2 columns, and there you go. So the main idea is to have the inner take function to return one subset of the range, and then the outer take function will return the final subset of that we require. So the inner take function will have the inner number of rows and columns the same as the ending indices that we're going to specify to the slice function. However, the outer take function, we have to calculate the number of rows and columns that we're going to take from the starting and the ending indices. We have to remember to subtract 1. So here we know that we want rows 3 and 4, and we want columns 3 and 4. So we already have the ending indices for the rows and the columns. However, the outer number of rows will be the starting index minus the ending index, and don't forget to subtract 1. And in our example here, we also want to take from the 3rd column to the 4th column, and don't forget to subtract. And that's the main idea. Now, if we pop this nested take functions into a lambda, as follows. We have our source data, which will replace that. We have the row start and row end. This is our row end. And our row start. And we also need column start and column end. It's a little bit bigger. So we'll have our column end and our column start. So a little bit of space to breathe. So now we have to close our lambda function, and you have to give it the inputs, which is the source data, and we wanted to start it taking from row 3 up to row 4, and column 3 up to column 4, and there you go. Now we can change this up if you want to retrieve the first 3 rows and the last 3 columns. That's easy. We want rows 1 to 3, columns 4 to 6, and voila. So we can tidy up the messy formula with the use of the let built-in function. And what this does is you have a variable name and then a calculation or a value. Another variable name, a value or a calculation, and our outer rows and outer columns. And all these temporary variables are then used in our final calculation. This is to make the automation of this formula much easier. In order to automate this more efficiently, we can introduce some validation, and we can allow for blank starting and ending indices, and also for negative indices as well. We can take this new formula and save it into our formulas ribbon, into the name manager directly, or we can just go to define name, paste only the formula, not the input parameters. We can give some guidance to the user. And tell them that we want the source data range, row start, row end, start, end. So in the formulas ribbon, if you look in the name manager, you will see our new function saved. Okay, so I can replace everything here with a slice function. And please note the guidance that we've given to the user. It appears as a tooltip, so we have to input source data range. We wanted rows 1 to 3 and columns 4 to 6. Previously we wanted rows 3 to 4 and columns 3 to 4. Same story. Going back to this example, if we wanted to leave the starting and end indices blank, it gives us the same data. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. Thank you.